So good evening everyone and welcome to the today's session of Saturday Talk by JanyuTechnologies. Today we are privileged to have Dr. Deepak Birewar ji with us for today's session. A brief introduction about Dr. Deepak ji. Dr. Deepak Birewar is a distinguished chemical engineer, the founder, chairman and managing director of Inventis Research Company, a premier research-driven specialty chemicals manufacturing firm based in India. Dr. Birewar's strong technical foundation began with a Bachelor of Technology, that is BTech in Chemical Engineering from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Mumbai, in the year 1985. He subsequently earned his doctorate PhD in Chemical Engineering and Operations Research from Carnegie Mellon University in the USA in year 1989. Following his doctorate, Dr. Birewar joined DuPont Corporation, which was then the world's largest chemicals company, as a research scientist in their Central Research Department at the experimental station in Delaware. His career then took a dynamic turn into software industry, where he served as the Vice President of Semiconductors Division of I2 Technologies in Dallas, Texas. In the year 1998, leveraging his diverse expertise, he founded Rishi International, a successful software consulting company in Dallas. In the year 2005, driven by a vision to create a world-class manufacturing hub in India, Dr. Birewar returned to his chemical engineering roots and founded Inventis Research Company. His mission was clear: to establish one of the 10 largest manufacturing capacities in India for specialty chemicals, and to provide global supply chains with reliable, responsible alternatives to Chinese manufacturing. Under his hands-on leadership, Inventis has grown into a preferred partner for multinational corporations and originators in Japan, Western Europe, and the US. The company specializes in exclusive synthesis manufacturing, contract development and research, that is CMO, CDMO, and CRO services. Inventis focuses on high technology products, many of which are not manufactured by any other company in India, and some of them are very unique globally. Dr. Birewar has instilled a culture of uncompromising quality and sustainability at Inventis. The company boasts an impeccable record of zero lot rejections by customers since year 2011. Furthermore, Inventis is a pioneer in green manufacturing, deriving over 51% of its energy from renewable resources with net zero impact since year 2012. The company is currently undergoing massive expansion, having recently completed phase 1 expansion with a 90 reactor facility. Inventis is on track to install over 360 batch and flow reactors, positioning it among the top 5 specialty chemicals manufacturers in India. Dr. Birewar currently resides in Mumbai with his family and continues to lead Inventis towards new horizons of innovation and global impact. We are really privileged to have sir today here, and today he is going to speak on the topic that is Grand Slam 2026 by US, which is a strategic analysis of the US geopolitical sequence in the years 2021 to year 2026. Over to sir from here.
Thank you. So the topic, I made a presentation here some time ago about, today the world is going through a turmoil. It has actually started since almost the time of COVID. One thing after another, there is a destabilizing factor. In my opinion, this is an orchestrated chaos that is being introduced in the world, and there is a strategy behind that. So these are not random set of events. It's not depending because some supposedly crazy precedent in America has taken. I think this is a completely orchestrated and planned sequence of events, and their goal, in my opinion, is quite scary. So it concerns me, and hence I said, okay, let's try to put the thoughts together. Of course, a lot of this is based on what you read on internet, etc. But obviously you pick out of that what you agree with and what you believe in. Yeah. So if you look at last few years, actually it's more than 4 years. As you know, some people say, well, first of all, it's very clear that even COVID research was funded by US, partly funded. And there is some kind of a connection between the COVID virus leak and US. Yeah, we don't know what that is, but there is some smoke. Yeah. But leaving that apart to a conspiracy theory domain, what has certainly happened in last few years, there is a sequence of events where US seems to be grabbing control of the energy market. US already has control over the monetary system of the world since last 40-50 years, and it is also ahead of most of the countries in putting tremendous amount. So when you look at what is happening over last few, to me it seems like, as I said before, it's a concerted, orchestrated strategy of maybe seemingly unrelated event, but there is a logic. So if you talk about energy, Russia did try to warn, and this has been going on for almost 10-12 years, that is needling Russia in Eastern Europe. But eventually the war started and Nord Stream got destroyed. And that is, again, it's not clear who broke the Nord Stream pipe. But reality is, as a result, US is now a dominant supplier of LNG to Europe. Now, it's important that the price of this LNG is actually far higher than what Russia was supplying to Europe. So not only US has captured the energy market, but it has also captured it at a higher price. And on the other hand, as we all know, Europe is suffering because of higher energy. Similarly, Assad was removed, and that was one of the nodes in China's Belt and Road Initiative. And by creating a hurdle in their Belt and Road Initiative, again, one of the energy supply to China, one of the potential energy supply route for China. Then, of course, come Venezuela. This was the most brazen grabbing an oil field after Iran. And they have grabbed a very large amount of oil now, and they have prevented China from getting that. The value of this is very large, and as you can see, US refined petroleum products are more than 100 billion. Then came Iran. Iran has been successfully, I can say, neutralized, and not only Iran's oil supply, gas supply, etc. is hurt to large extent. Many other gas supplies in Middle East have been harmed. And further, there is some problem with Strait of Hormuz. At least sometime Iran is blocking it, sometime US is blocking it. Now there is no large supplier of LNG left, at least in near future, except for United States. Now, America's petrodollar system is well known, but now they have added to the crude, now they have added LNG. The combination of crude and LNG control, US might be able to force US dollar, continue to force the importance of US dollar in the world financial. Europe and Japan, etc., America's friends, have really nowhere to go. They have really destroyed their relationship with Russia, and they are now buying expensive energy from America. Of course, there are some side impacts. For example, helium is one of the byproduct of petroleum industry. If the Middle East petroleum industry is forced to reduce its output, or it's not destroyed but is harmed, again for helium, again to China and others need to depend on America. Whereas in US, the data centers have literally unlimited source of energy, and any other, primarily India and China, will have to pay higher for energy, and that creates a further barrier or further hurdle for us to supply energy to the AI data servers and machines. Now, if and Ukraine is already harming, destroying some of the refineries in Russia, if they succeed in continuing to reduce Russia's ability to refine oil, again, this will be a very strong controlling lever that America will get in their hands over India and China. Apparently, their goal is control China, but I think we are getting controlled at the same. So with very large amount of global production of oil, gas under US hand, OPEC is becoming irrelevant, and yes, this is causing some higher prices for Americans, but they can print a lot of dollars, and they can give helicopter money. Anyway, in America, the way money is distributed to people, the kind of salaries they give, it's very clear that just printed money, and no other country has that luxury. Now, this presentation really says it is China who is the target of America. My concern is not China. My concern is, and I think we are also at the mercy of America because of all these developments. So ostensibly, whatever the US is doing is to corner China, but I think we are also in their cross. So yeah, things like Qatar, etc. Essentially, what US is doing is grabbing energy. It already has a money control, dollar control, and by petroleum and LNG, both having compulsion traded in dollar, the supremacy of US dollar cannot be reduced in near future. If this, then of course there is. Now, according to me, somebody who controls money supply, somebody who controls energy, and the final domino, what you call as ASI or artificial superintelligence, this will be a very difficult to challenge supremacy. And will this create slavery for rest of the world? So it's very clear that with military supremacy, dollar being sort of a controlling currency in the world, ability to print unlimited dollars, which they have shown over last 10 or 12. According to me, the entire world is already a slave of US. We have been enslaved. Okay, it's not slavery the way Britishers practiced, where they went and occupied the, but it's a subtle slavery or a indirect slavery, probably more insidious and probably more effective. And we are already in that phase, yeah, for last many years. But now with artificial superintelligence, if they are able to build in addition to energy, then I feel for humanity, future is very bleak. US has multiple times, various people have multiple times spoken about things like depopulating Earth. You can look at Trump's attitude, which is simply attitude of USA as a country, but now in open. What they practice in a hidden manner, now he's practicing openly. But I think it's a very scary. What are the two possibilities? Either USA succeeds in its grand slam, what I call as grand, or it fails. If it succeeds, I think first of all, it is very bleak scenario for humanity as a whole. So I consider USA as the greatest danger to humanity. And I don't think there was any force, be it Mughal, killed a lot of people all over the, be it Britishers who at one time ruled the entire. I think today's threat to humanity is more fundamental and deeper and scaled by America than any other challenge that humanity as a whole has faced last hundreds of years, few thousand. But okay, but if this happens, if this, what's going to, so one possibility is nobody is going to be happy. Even Europeans are not very happy. There will be a rebellion. Basically, if US succeeds, I think World War III is in. If they don't succeed, which I hope they don't know how, then of course dollar will collapse. There'll be severe turmoil in the financial. So maybe what I believe is a Gorbachev type of president is required for who will slowly dismantle America's strength and America's control over the world financial and energy markets and accept coexistence. Because the other option is collapse, turmoil, etc. Now, these are the two sort of possibilities. But I think the more important point is what does India, because we are not as strong as China right now, economically or militarily. Russia is the only country today who can assure mutually assured destruction to America. Even China cannot, and India certainly. The reason to make this presentation and bring this topic to the table is what kind of danger we face. According to me, it's an existential danger to India as well as, and how do we tackle this danger? Do I have any suggestions or solutions? Absolutely not. But at least I want to put in front of you what we face and what the world's humanity faces in my. So this is my last slide. And what I would say is I would like to hear from people is, am I being too alarming? Am I reading too much between the lines? Or this is a fairly plausible scenario? According to me, first 12 slides speak about what US is doing. I think it's almost fairly logical. I don't think one can put too many holes in this thing. Only thing is, what are the implications? That is open to interest. Does America want to depopulate the earth and grab the earth for them? Do they want to enslave rest of the world even more severely than what has happened? What will be the impact of ASI under US control on humanity? And then of course, how does India figure it? Messy. According to me, again, America is certainly not friendly to us. They do consider us as enemy. Only thing is, it's a smaller enemy than how do we deal? Okay.
So I feel you're not being alarmist because there are indications very clearly said that if you think that we will help India the way we help China to grow, you're sadly mistaken. This is a sentiment. We will not help India to grow in that fast manner the way China grew with our. That is very clear. They say, that they stated. Then comes after and around. So and let me not call it race. No other country has done this kind of exploitation the way they have done, and not only on the American soil. In South America, they did not have the control of Iran, weapons of mass destruction. Similarly, they are now creating this Iran, because Iran is not in there. Let's do this. So they want to control all, and that's how the petrodollar, they control the whole world. So they thing which we do not understand, because in his first term, Trump got all the help from Putin to become the president of US. And Russia actually, at that time was a great friend. Not know what is the change now in his second term. But this is what my feeling is, that they will want to keep exploiting the natural resources, not only of their own soil, across the world, and they would not allow. So China has come closer, not want, and all this around the world has controlled things which are leading to China's continuous rise. So this is
What is the fear that, they want to control, that is clear, right? Energy, money, resource. $2, we have already been made into slaves and there is an exploitation. So I was reading a report since 1960. Approximately $2.5 trillion of wealth flows from global south to global north every year. Okay? And this is by essentially underpricing our service and overpricing their services and sucking money and essentially pushing generations of Indians and global to a life of difficulties, poverty, etc., etc. So we are enslaved. But what is the possibility that they will want to depopulate the earth? Because that has been stated by many people from the Western world that there are too many human beings and we need to reduce the number of people.
So this is a hit. One person in 1940s tried the same, wanted to finish off one particular race from the face of the earth because he thought that they are the very intelligent people and I must remove them. I'm talking about Hitler wanting to remove Jews. So it's the same thing which is being tried, probably history repeating itself. And there is always a counter force which will come and protect the earth, the earthlings. So I do not know how it will happen. The possibility that
and force doesn't come, it has to be created. I mean, yes, it has to come. We believe it will, but still a large number of people have to get together. It doesn't fall from the sky. One of the fear I have, with the ASI, artificial. What stops them? I mean, you don't even need what you call as ASI. I think that tools are available today. Is to create viruses or bacteria or whatever that actually selectively wipes out set of population. It's not at all implausible. So I think the war goes beyond nuclear weapons, energy, etc., etc. I think it's extremely possible that you can create a organ that will selectively kill people of certain genetic makeup. It's very possible. And this should be looked at as a threat. And the only way you can counter it is you have besides having atomic weapons, whatever weapon. But I think even this is a issue. For me, this danger is very large. Okay, I'm 62, 63. I'm not going to live very long, many years. But our next generation and our descendants are facing a very big threat. I hope the right people are doing something about it. At least they have started thinking about it. I think they have. And we probably need to create a coalition of nations. Because today, if you look at America's military spending, it's equal to the next 10 countries or 9 countries combined. So it's a huge. I wonder what the world's nations think about this, and then whether there are traitors.
First is when the race is in the artificial superintelligence game. Mostly it is about computation power and the way we are able to input the data and create relevant outcomes. Now, what is the new offering that as India we want to provide so that India becomes a core stakeholder? Currently, what's happening is, like you already pointed out, we are already enslaved in various angles and we are trying to cope up rather than actually create a new positioning and a new offering so that the world actually turns and there is a negotiation on what India can offer, and the value that India offers becomes a card for us to say, okay, let us deal this way. Even in the artificial intelligence race at this point in time, we are actually catching up, right? So while looks like from the technological aspect, we have done quite well so far and we are catching up quickly. Do you see any soft power aspects where from an offering as a country, as India, which is quite different from the other way, the way US deals, or the cutthroat way in which business is the priority than humanity as the priority, which is one of the major differentiators of India across historically for ages together? Can we bring in an offering so that India still holds that value than simply run the race and try to catch up the number? And also, I think the major discussion is oriented towards who is the number one. But for the number one to survive logically and economically also, they need number 2, 3, 4, and 10, right? If they're trying to eliminate all the other numbers, I mean, where will the economic rotation happen is also a matter. The second aspect I wanted to clarify is one pattern which Trump is doing is he partners with someone and he ditches them. Take Elon Musk, take I think the Anthropic, or even Israel. He said like, this is your problem in between, but even though he's starting the conversation, and the US firms are also concerned of having a president who might say someone as a security threat just because one term or two terms are not accepted on. So while US is taking this and might not be really impacted immediately, looks like they would also want a regime change or at least a sane president. So we are actually projecting the way the pattern is going as it is, but with these internal influences of what the companies also want to do, to a certain extent fair play. We cannot call even those companies are playing fair, because Anthropic and ChatGPT themselves have consented to share the data to a certain extent of people. So how do you see software or the India's contribution? And the second thing is the influences that need a regime.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I think for a power like America, soft power has zero. They will just put an atom bomb and soft power is gone. That's there. And it's the approach of actually entire West and even Middle Eastern civil. They have a different way. There is a large percentage of population in the world who values India's soft power or India's approach, I think. But how many are willing to stand when push comes to shove? So in heart of my heart, I like India, but I will support America to have a military base in our country, my country, because that offers me certain protection.
And the internal necessity for a better president in the US itself, because it's like his pattern is very clear. He partners and he ditches that organization.
So US has been doing that for last few years. According to me, Trump is not at all an animal. Trump is doing exactly what other people were doing. Only his appearance is different. Actions are the same. And he's doing it in an accelerated. In fact, this is an important question, why they have accelerated. Because according to me, there are two reasons why one is they see a threat that they are going to get finished. Finished means the supremacy will be finished. So now this is a desperate attempt, to re-establish. They are already supreme, but extend that for a long time. A desperate attempt to do something that will extend the supremacy for a long time. And they see the possibility that if I don't do it now, it's too late. This is one other possibility which can be more. They have something in their hand now with which they are supremely confident that they can destroy anything and anybody at any. They have something. They got some aces in their hands now, which we don't know about. So now they don't feel any need to be nice, to play nice. They were never nice, but now they don't want to even play nice. They don't want to even feign to be nice. They're just saying, hey, Greenland is mine. I mean, I need Greenland. I'll take it. In the past, they would create some bullshit and create a UN mandate so US can take Greenland. Okay, they'll manipulate and they don't feel the need. I think there are only two possibilities. For some reason they are desperate. So they have thrown away all the covers which they have been using for long, or they have something in their hand